What is going on, Steam? That's us now. That's us
That's
now.
us now. That's us now. Sure, we're
Say
here.
hello, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
I fucking knew you were going to say it. Oh, dude, how you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. How are you doing?
Good, good, really good. First and foremost, bro, thank you for coming on and sharing your time and experience with the crew on the Elite FPA Belfast community.
No bother at all. Happy to be here. I feel like I'm on Oprah or something.
You are on the fucking Oprah, except except I don't look anything like her and I'm a male.
No.
Um, right, okay, bud. So we're going to get straight into it here. We're going to talk a wee bit about where you were at before your fitness journey, because we've told this story a few times. Where you kind of started out. We know that in your younger days you were fond of a few pizzas and a few Chineses and a few beers and a few parties and a few Haribos and all that sort of stuff.
Aye.
It just sounds amazing.
It was. Until it wasn't, it was.
What here? I tell you what. Well, what was the point then when it wasn't? When did you sort of realize I got to get my act together here? Otherwise, like one pizza slice away from diabetes. As I think Daniel Liberty likes to say.
I can pretty much, I'm not sure the actual date, but I'm pretty sure it was the 24th of February 2014 that I started in the gym, and I started with you guys, right?
Right.
So depending on what day that was, the Tuesday or Monday before that, I was playing five-a-side football with your cousin Pat and Kieran McNichol and all those guys, right? And just before then, I had finished watching all of the seasons and all of the episodes of Breaking Bad, and I'd done that in less than 2 weeks. I had done nothing but lying on the sofa, eating £1 pizzas out of Asda, and it was that kind of dodgy part after Christmas where there's like half bottles of everything just lying underneath the oven or the larder or whatever. Like I was drinking fucking Baileys and stuff at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, just watching Breaking Bad episode after Breaking Bad episode. And I was just lying there, I was like, I need to sort this out. Just looking at myself, lying in my pajamas, going, what am I even doing? And it was mostly because in a few months I was going to be expecting Oliver. He's 6 now. So, I was, just thinking, and I need to do something about this. I'm going to have a kid running about pretty soon, and I'm in no state, like mentally or physically, to kind of take this thing on. So I decided I was going to play football, and I got talking to Kieran because he was actually training with yourselves at that point. So maybe a couple of days later, I went down to the gym, and I remember my first session was with Paddy, Joe, and Kieran. Got stuck in, absolutely loved it. And yes, whenever you start the gym, like you kind of like cling on to your wee friend who you went with and stuff. So it was me and Kieran sharing a session at the same time all the time. Then I was like, you know what, Kieran, fuck you, I'm away on my own. I'm going like twice a day now. Fuck this shit. You know what I mean? I was just once I got the bug, it was all in, and I was reading everything. I'm sure Paddy Joe in your head was melted back then with me sending you messages and shit.
I remember clearly. I remember clearly like the amount of questions that you asked and the amount of curiosity that you held towards fitness. And that was like from very earlier on. And you were probably asking me questions at the time, which I didn't have the answer to. I was like, dude, just shut the fuck up and lift the weight, will you? That's
Hurry
all
up
I
and
know.
show us your squat again. It's class.
Yeah. Yeah. That was probably it back then. No, but
because even before then, like whenever you were working in the bar and stuff way back then, like I remember gigging and going, like trying to make small talk with you. Do you know what I mean? Like at the bar and stuff, and it was like, well, I'm thinking about losing a wee bit of weight here. Have you got any magazines or anything you can throw me? And I remember you going, I take that one. You're like, nah, fuck off. You're not going to do anything. You know what I mean? So that was the difference. Like I just jumped in and I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly, and I'm going to take everything on board, and I'm going to ask everything that I can ask and figure it all out. And I absolutely just fell in love with it. And I fell in love with the place more than anything. Like I could have trained anywhere with anybody, but it was like the place that I was in and the people that I was with, like it was just no brainer. Like I was staying there for life. You're never getting rid of me.
So true, dude. So true. So you, so initially, like, I remember your sort of initial transformation, which we were kind of like selling like 12-week transformations and stuff at the time. You had lost a fair bit of weight, but you weren't content. You were like, nope, there's more to do here. There's more work to do. And then you continued on training, which we always try to not enforce on people, but try to convince people, listen, even though this is kind of the start of the journey, like this is the fire lit, we have to keep it burning here. Which you did do successfully. And then the second time around, the second time that you decided, well, I'm going to do a proper photo shoot here, I'm going to get photo shoot ready, like that was probably the leanest you ever were. Am I right about that?
Oh man, like yeah, I can't even remember what weight it was, but I remember my dad comparing me to the guy out of The Pianist. You know the video about the guy who escapes the Nazis from the concentration camp. I was you know what, I put in a lot of work. I was training twice a day, every single day at that point, and I was just like everything, and there was loads of different things that I was doing nutritionally, like maybe like every 4 or 5 weeks or something, I was just changing something up, and I was just like, this is
everything.
And I think one of the main things was the first 12-week thing. We'd done the high evolution up in the old place, up in above the bar, and that was basically, right, let's see what I can do in 12 weeks. And at that stage, I was still kind of learning. I was still only maybe a couple of months into training in the gym. And there was photos at the end of that. And like you said, I was, I wasn't content with that. And I was like, right, I want to see how far I can push this. And I booked a photographer from outside. And I was just like, and that was one of the main things as well, like having somebody coming into the gym to take the photos, like, right, I got to knuckle down and do this shit.
Yeah. So that added accountability made you focus that wee bit harder and work that wee bit harder for it then.
Absolutely.
Actually, I think it was at that stage where you were probably in the gym like twice a day, and I think it was around about that stage where I was like, do you know what? Like, Steve'o's fucking committed. This dude wants it. Like, and then I think I was like, did you ever think about like coaching any people or anyone to do any of this here? And I can't remember when the actual conversation kind of ensued. I think it might have been like me and PJ just kind of needed help at that stage. And I was like, let's give Steve'o an opportunity and see what comes of it. Like, can you remember anything about that occasion or when that sort of started?
Yeah, it was actually during that preparation for those photos. I think it was maybe about 6 weeks into the process, because just going through old photos, like on Instagram and stuff, like you can see the transfer photo where Paddy Joe's got the t-shirt and stuff and handing it over to me.
Right, okay.
And it was a conversation where you're like, we're getting a wee bit busy here and stuff, and we've got things outside of the gym that we want to be doing, whether it was courses or teaching or anything like that. And it was like, do you want to come down and take a couple of clients for a couple of hours in the evenings or whatever in the afternoons? And at that stage, I'm pretty sure I had been through nearly every single program you had to throw at anybody at that point, because I'd basically done them all. So I had experience with what exercises there were, how to do them, Paddy Joe's wee tricks on how to, get more out of it, all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, kind of like backing it up with my own reading.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I was like, you know what, I've got these photos and stuff coming up, and I'm really enjoying this coaching stuff. And then I started looking into certifications. So I went and done the certification. It was probably a wee while actually after the photos, but I got certified at the Belfast Met or Belfast Tech or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So that I had the qualifications so that could actually work for yourselves, properly. And then after that, I recertified with Elite. Then because it was during the transition from the second gym to the one that we're in at the minute. Yep. So we've done like half of it in the older gym and then the second half in the new place.
That's right. And that was like our first crew. And I always actually tell the story about this here, and not a lot of people know this. Like we had one person book on to our first course.
It was Ryan, wasn't it?
It was Ryan.
Aye, Ryan, yeah.
And the rest were team members.
Yeah.
The rest were all team members. Like no,
Bernard and Joe Cool and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And I just like, I say to people, listen, all you need is like one client. That's it. Like one client. And it was what we had from that was social proof. Here, listen, we've had people do the course, we've taken them through it. Here's the results they've got. And that's it. I mean, that's pretty much all you need. But we have one person versus we had 53 starting in January. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking...
see to kind of compare to that as well. So you're talking about it in terms of one person for a course, right? See if you want to talk about it one person for a coach or a personal trainer. My one person was VJT, Joseph Taylor. I remember whenever I started coaching, like you were like, right, you're his PT now, you look after him, you sort his food out and you sort out his programming and all this here stuff. And I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this person? And, I have to come up with my own things and come up with my own advice and stuff. And actually, you know what? Like, it was the best thing to actually do. Just go out and just get one person under your belt and then go, right, this is how things work.
and here's the thing about that as well. JT still trains with us today.
And he's an animal. All because of me.
Like, it's so, like, it's inspiring because he was what, 50? Was he even 15? I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was worried about as well. Like, this kid's only young. If I do something wrong, he's going to fucking break himself for life.
Yeah, and if you look at him now and how he's developed training with us over the last, 8 years, because he was there as long as you were as well.
Yeah.
And high lifts, high moves, like everything. It's absolutely amazing to see, and he's still consistent wee motherfucker, isn't he?
I know, he really is. There's like a wee switch in him, like he's an absolute laugh. See, whenever you're explaining stuff and talking him through the workout and stuff, he's an absolute gag. And then as soon as the workout starts, he just switches off and just goes. It's unbelievable.
Game face. And then nights out as well. What a dude on nights out. See,
he loves dancing. It. He loves it.
Shout out to JT. Right, so at what point then, because I know you were kind of back and forth between different jobs. You were doing a driving job and you had a fucking, like, you just decided to ram into someone, didn't you, on the motorway?
Twice. It wasn't even on the motorway. I was in 2 accidents. I was in more accidents in 1 year than I was in the fucking rest of the time that I'd ever drove. Haven't been in an accident since. Oh man, it was bad. No, God. So well,
the time you can sort of say the time that you set the car on fire was another. Was that was your fault?
The car set itself on fire, and the other car after that, the wheel came off itself. I didn't do anything. Me and cars just don't mix.
I know, dude, you fucking take that car off you. So I vaguely remember you coming to me, because I think we're kind of back and forth at that stage. I don't think you were completely sold on the idea of coaching full time. Plus, I being transparent, myself and PJ, we were very raw in the industry. Like, we didn't know fully what we were doing. This is probably an understatement. So I think you were kind of back and forth, because we were back and forth, like, can we really make a real business out of this? Are we still fucking about here? And that was probably reflecting and impacting you guys as well. So you were kind of back and forth. And then I vaguely remember a conversation that we had where you were like, dude, and I think this was right after the car crash, you were like, the experience that I just had was enough to tell me that that's not what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I want to be coaching. Can you tell us a wee bit more about that? Like, what exactly happened there? What was the switch?
Yeah, so the kind of backwards and forward conversation that I had with myself was, it was a mixture of a couple of things. So I was doing the driving job during the day, and then I was coming straight out of that and then coming down to the gym and doing a couple of hours in the evening. And I loved it. So I was looking forward all day to getting out of the van and getting down to the gym to coaching people and having the crack and, talking the way people do after work, talking about their days, you know what I mean? And there was a mixture of the kind of, wanting some sort of like a like a security blanket or something. I was like, I really want to be doing this, but I don't know if I can cut it and all this here stuff. And then whenever the crashes and stuff happened, I was just like, what's the point in all this if I'm just going to end up into the back of a lorry or something, absolutely wiping myself out. Doing something I don't really enjoy. I mean, like I love singing, I used to sing and stuff but there's only so much sitting and listening to the radio and singing along to it that you can do before it starts winding you up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nah, if I'm gonna have a go at this, I might as well do it as soon as possible. Because I may be beautiful, but I'm not really that young. So and I'm not getting any younger. So I might as well go for it now, at least while Oliver's young. Do you know what I mean? And and you always freak out about money and stuff, I suppose, with any kind of this big decision that you make in those kind of terms. But people just seem to forget, and I forgot that there's so many people around you that care about you, and even if everything does go tits up, you're going to be looked after. It doesn't matter what happens. You may as well go for it.
Yeah. You were, well, like, for sure all in on that journey with us. Like, I think we were all experiencing the same journey at the time. Definitely. And I also remember, it's kind of a funny story here. I remember you sort of tell me a story about some Russian dude who you were delivering parts to, who was ready to kill you because you were like 5 minutes late to the parts, or you brought the wrong parts or something. And then you were just like, dude, like, I'm crashing into the back of people. I had some crazy Russian dude after me because I didn't fucking deliver parts.
I don't know what it is. Mechanics are some of the most aggressive people I've ever come across in my life.
Well, you shouldn't have been fucking late. You shouldn't have been late for him.
I know, it's one of those ones where you stroll up and try and make a joke out of it. You go, mate, every red light on the way down that road there. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, mate. I know it's my fucking parts.
Oh god,
Wow.
hilarious. So then we kind of, so we moved together. At the time you were doing the course. I mean, hopefully you got some value from the course at that time. We started to kind of make things a wee bit more serious, I'd say, during that transition. And you've seen the sort of progress in terms of how much more serious things have gotten through the years. Mm-hmm. And I would say that's just a normal evolution in business from anyone that started from scratch, from nothing, basically. I think that's a normal evolution. And even for yourself as well, like, when I suppose when was the point where you realized, fuck, this is serious. I can make a full career out of this here, which you have done now for the last few years. Was there a point where you realized, right, this is real business now things are serious? When was that?
Whenever you just gave me a key. I was like, like these guys trust me with, one, their building, two, their equipment, three, the people who they have basically went all out and tried to get to come to join their gym and stuff. And they're going to let me look after all of those things in one go, all by myself. And I'm enjoying every second of it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, doing the courses and stuff, like, that's the tip of the iceberg. Like, that's, like you say it all the time, like you go in, you'll do the course and you'll get your fancy wee bit of paper and all that there kind of stuff. But see, whenever you go out there, it is a completely different ball game, and it doesn't matter. Like, the guys on the courses and stuff recently have been, working on, one-to-ones kind of thing. Like, so person A and person B, you're paired off together, and you're going to be doing your practical together, and you're going to know every single thing about every single movement pattern that this person has and their abilities and things that they need regressed and stuff. And then you go out into the world of the gym, and there's 10 people sat in front of you. They all don't know what the hell you're doing, and they all have different capabilities, and you've never met them before in your life, and you're like, what the hell do I do with these people? And see, whenever you gave me the keys to the place, and we're just like, right, you're working from 6 o'clock until 1 o'clock or whatever. I'm like, and what do we do? Who's going to show up? And they're like, train whoever shows up. And they're like, shit. So I was like, yeah, but yeah, it's whenever you kind of realize that the freedom was there to kind of have autonomy of the place, and putting big decisions into my hand as well, like, because that was very important. Like, it's easy to kind of just follow the guys who are owning the place and running the place, and this is what they want to do with the place. But whenever you're asked the question and you're like, what do you think we should do here? Or, write a program for the next 12 weeks that all of our clients are gonna follow and is gonna be the crux of their results or lack of results. You're like, that's golden. Like, any time that you get an opportunity like that, you grab it and you go with it.
And do you think that sort of added responsibility helped you kind of level up as a coach?
Yeah, absolutely had to, because you couldn't.
Deep end anyway. You just threw you in at the deep end anyway.
So sometimes that's the best thing, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I haven't a clue why that person moves that way, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to try and figure out different ways to get the same sort of result with them. If they can't do a certain type of squat, then I'll try this with them. All right, that doesn't work. And I think as well, like, back in the day, whenever I was only starting out, it would have been a case of don't tell the client that I don't really know what I'm doing. Don't let them know that I'm kind of on the back foot here and I'm just trying things out. See, if you just say to the client, you go, look, I haven't a clue what's going on here, but here's an option that we can go with. Let's try it out and see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, you go, okay, didn't work. Here's another option. As long as you have those options and you're honest with them and just throw it at them, you just say they're more than happy to kind of just go with it. You know what I mean? You find yourself figuring things out and leveling up because of the kind of responsibility that's been put on you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better to act your way to a new way of thinking than it is to think your way to a new way of acting.
That's a good one. Put that on a t-shirt.
That's a good one, isn't it? That's a good one. Cool. So let's fast forward a wee bit. So today, like, you're pretty much on the front line when it comes to the gym. Your job, your role has kind of evolved a lot over the last few years, to the point now where you're like writing email copy, doing sales, sort of management role. I would say in terms of accountability, you're the boss on that front. Like, I'm pretty much in the shadows, or like there's not, I don't mind admitting that. Like, so like, for anyone watching, what do you think the key is to that sort of professional development? Like, what would be the best advice you would get? Let's say someone's working in a facility, right? Because again, not everyone is built for entrepreneurship. But what they can become is an intrapreneur. And that's what I largely say that our team is made up of, is a bunch of entrepreneurs. Because even though, and this is like, I don't know if this is bad or not, but we don't actually have like core values written down. And I know it sounds like, well, you haven't written down your core values and whatever, but if we, on a weekly basis, like, we speak twice a week, we speak about the level of expectations, the things that we value in terms of taking ownership of things, making sure that things are done to the best of your ability. Like, we haven't actually sat down and wrote it out in a nice sentence, but we all know how we want things to be and how things should operate. And then we're pretty vocal about when they don't operate in that way. So people can work at that level. So back to the question then, what do you think is the key for coaches who possibly are working for someone else, who want to become a great entrepreneur, but then at the same time, if someone is thinking about leveling up as a coach, then what's the key points? What's the key takeaways for that individual too?
A couple kind of spring to mind. The first one would probably be to take initiative. If I relate it back to what I was saying a wee second ago about it being your place and Paddy Joe's place and stuff, it has to become your place as well. you need to be a part of that environment. And part of the reason that things kind of just work, or we have that way of this is how we do things around here, without it having been written down, is because we're kind of building that environment on a daily basis. Do you know what I mean? And it's all of our environment, and we're all there helping each other. And the second thing that goes hand in hand with taking initiative and everyone doing the role without kind of second guessing themselves or having to bring it to the top and ask the boss or anything like that, is the communication. So we're always, like you said, we're always meeting up on a Monday and a Friday with our staff meetings, and whether there's anything big to talk about or not, we still get on there and we touch base, even to see how everyone's doing. If any of our clients are having any issues.
Blowing fucking snazzer, by the way.
Sorry, it wasn't.
I thought the kids were watching Dumbo in the background or something. Oh Jesus, no. So
sorry, as you were saying before we were interrupted there.
This is serious talk. What you make a joke about it for? Yeah. So, like I said, even if we don't have anything big on the agenda, we always touch base and we always talk about things. And we always kind of, say, look, I've got this client who's just not responding to me, and then someone else sorts it out and helps the situation. So taking initiative, I think, would be the big thing, because even if the people at the top don't agree with what you're kind of doing or where you're going for, they can see that there's potential there, and they can see that there's somewhere else for you to go instead of just being another person on the gym floor. And the communication is vital, because if you're going to be a valued part of any team, you need to be able to communicate regardless of what the topic is. What's happening, son? He's saying hello.
You all good?
Regardless of what the topic is, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you need to be able to be comfortable and eloquent in the way that you communicate, and efficient in the way that you communicate with those people. Otherwise, you're kind of just going to get lost.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We will. So there's a couple of things that I kind of wanted to ask you, and I'm always sort of curious about this here. Anyways, like, who would be your biggest influences in the industry, and why? That was just a question that was kind of swirling around in my mind, which I thought I would hit you with.
To be honest, there's a like, if you had to ask me, maybe a couple of years ago, I would have named you bodybuilders up and down, the list and all these kinds of things. And now, like you said, like, my role as a coach has kind of changed. I'm coaching primarily, but I'm also, doing emails and, sorting people out and helping with accountability and all those kinds of things. So, Brett Bartholomew is actually really, really good on Instagram, and he's got a book called Conscious Coaching. It's so out there, and like, I'm not the brightest bulb in the toolbox or whatever you want to call it, but
compared to me,
I remember teaching you how to work a computer, yeah, it's quite difficult to grasp, so I'm actually going through it a second time. But his thing is about, the ability to communicate with people, and not even just, as a member of a team, but, in terms of clients and stuff as well. Because there's no kind of fixed model of, yeah, this is what you do, this is how you're going to achieve this goal, and this is whatever. Because, people will pick things up in different ways, and even if it's, the tonality or your voice or the way you ever get a text message or an email and someone goes, well, there's no need to talk to me like that, and you're like, well, I forgot a comma, and all of a sudden
I said yes. That was it. I just said yes.
Yeah, that's it. Or just thumbs up. It's just like, what? Yeah, so Brett Bartholomew, I reckon, is a good source, and in terms of kind of coaching and, like, getting good ideas flowing and, developing yourself. I'm really enjoying the stuff on Lift the Bar as well. I think that there's a great resource for people to be looking at as well. There's loads of different things on there about, motivation and programming and all that kind of carry on. So I'm loving Lift the Bar, Brett Bartholomew, in terms of like overall coaching and stuff as well. I think Luca is doing a great job on his posts and his videos and stuff, and his content is just brilliant as well.
Yeah. I'm going to add one to that. Martin Rooney.
Oh, how did I even forget about him?
I don't know how you forgot about that, dude, but yeah, Martin Rooney.
Coach the Coach book, absolute game changer. So good. So good.
Yeah.
And if you have like 15-20 minutes or something, there's loads of his YouTube, like his talks on YouTube, unbelievable. And you know what, see, within the first couple of minutes, if you're struggling to motivate anybody, watch one of those videos and you will be on fire, and you'll be ready to handle anything, that any problem anyone's having, you'll be able to sort it after watching that video.
Absolutely, mate. So for the last year, things have been pretty chaotic. From a coaching perspective, it's been on a gym floor, it's been in person, it's been remote, it's been, should I follow a dad? Should I not follow a dad? Can I get results online? There's so many variables been thrown at people for the last year and a bit, I think now. Yeah. So like, what's been the biggest learning? What's been the biggest takeaways that you have had from a learning perspective? Because if you haven't grown as a coach in the last year, well, then there's something fucking wrong, right? There's something wrong. I actually seen something the other day. It said isolation equals education. So if you haven't picked up something over the last year, well, then there's some shit wrong. What's been the biggest takeaways for you as a coach? I would say on the front line, dealing with all of that. And then what would be the biggest takeaway that you could give someone in order to cope with what's going on right now? Because not everyone's coping the same way we have. Some people have just been like, fuck this, I'm gone. I'll deal with it whenever shit reopens again.
When the gym's open.
When the gym's open, we'll get back to it. So what's been the biggest learning experience for you?
The biggest thing for me is, yourself, that I'm a social butterfly. So I need people. I need to be around people. I need to be talking to people. I need to be singing and dancing and trying to make people laugh and all this kind of stuff, right? The big thing for me is we can't see those people in person when we're locked down. So how do we go about being in front of those people as often as possible without being a pain in their arse? So I think that the biggest thing that people can be doing now, everyone's going to be doing Zoom classes, and people are going to be doing True Coach or Fitter or whatever online platform that they're using, right? But I think now is the time to understand the power of accountability and the power of being in front of people as often as possible. Whether that is, you didn't fill in your macros on MyFitnessPal, depends on the client. Whether that is, I'm just texting you to see how you're feeling today, depends on the client, because like you said, everyone's dealing with this in completely different ways. I'm even as a coach, I'm dealing with this one a hell of a lot worse than I did the last one. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of that, getting in front of people, still putting out positive messages, trying to help, sending messages to say, I'm thinking about you, how you doing, or I haven't seen you on Zoom in a wee while, or you haven't filled in this form or that form or whatever. And at the same time, understanding that people are kind of going through a pretty rough time, and you don't know when you're messaging there and then, or it could be in 2 days' time. So that means next week when you message them, they'll have had a shit show for you to try and help them not feel so bad about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
hard not being able to read body language at certain times, isn't it? Because someone comes into a gym, you read their body language, fuck, they're not feeling it today. Let's go easy on them.
Yeah.
Whereas at other times, someone's coming in and they're laughing and joking and all. It's like, right, you're in for it this session.
Yeah. And like a lot of the times you'll throw out the like there's always that kind of goodwill feeling of going, I'll take time and jump on the Zoom and we can have a wee talk. But there's even a fine line between that, because a lot of time people think that they're going to be sitting in front of their coach to be, getting their balls ripped off and, being told you should be doing this and you should be doing that and stuff. So a lot of the time when people go, no, I'm working, I'm sorry, I'm too busy, or no, I can't, I'll just text you instead. And they kind of just tell you what they think that you want to hear some of the times. And it's only kind of by digging deeper and figuring things out and stuff and learning what way people are kind of reacting. But you don't learn that until you reach out to them in any way. So the Zoom sessions are great, and people are on True Coach because they don't like the Zoom sessions or whatever. You can email once a week or whatever, but how many people actually reply to your emails? You can send a message into the WhatsApp group or whatever, but out of 10 people who are in that group, maybe 3 of them reply to it. You can send them an instant message on WhatsApp and you get the double blue text that tells you they've read it and they're not taking you on, in which case you go into the bathroom and cry your eyes out because they don't want anything to do with you. And then things like like Zoom events, just trying to keep people together in whatever way that they can, and trying to keep the kind of environment of the gym that they're missing out on, and trying to keep that community kind of aspect in there as much as possible. I think that's probably my biggest kind of takeaway. And maybe I'm biased because I love a wee bit of accountability. I'm accountability coach.
Yeah, you're the dude on that front for sure. You've delved into the world of CrossFit now.
Oh, yeah.
Are you thinking about competing anytime soon?
Not too sure about competing in CrossFit. I've done one a couple of years ago with Paul Vennard, and when we went up there, it was like we didn't have a clue what the hell we were getting ourselves in for. There was like I don't know,
like double deadlifts and all, wasn't it?
Oh man, I'm about 2 foot shorter than Paul, and they were making us deadlift the same bar. It was hiked up one side, and my hip near fell out my fucking yeah, and the first event was running, and I honestly turned to Paul and I was like, Paul, we'll just go home. We drove up to Limavady, and I was like, I'm away, I'm not even doing this first event. So I don't know about CrossFit. I am enjoying it, and I'm enjoying pushing myself and getting fitter and all that kind of stuff, and seeing the developments and stuff. What I've gotten really into recently is the Olympic lifting side of things, like barbell snatching and clean and jerk and stuff. So I think, if anything, I'm gonna maybe push towards doing something along those lines before I think about a CrossFit thing.
Gotcha. Nice one, mate. Nice one. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I think your spine intact. Nah, I'm joking about this here, but there are, you've experienced it. There are people slate CrossFit, and I get asked all the time, like, what do you think? And I'm just like, it depends.
Yeah.
Yes, because Steve'o, yes, you go and do CrossFit all you want. Someone who's just into a gym environment who can't do 5 pull-ups, but they want to go and do kitten pull-ups, or they can't, they have 0 shoulder flexion, but they want to do barbell snatch. No, you don't do CrossFit, my friend. No. So it's like, it's easy. Beginners learn the rules, intermediate follow the rules, advanced break the rules. You're advanced. If you want to break the rules, you go ahead there, son.
And I do it with such ease as well. It's like no second questioning about it. I'll go and do
it. Just fucking whack a creatine in you and you're good to go, dude.
No, mate, I'm natural. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. No, I'm natural.
You avoid that stuff, do you? Class. If there was anything that I should have asked you today but didn't, what would it have been?
I hate when you ask me this. I don't know, probably something to do with where gyms are going, I suppose. Like what gyms have the offer or something.
Okay. Well, what do you think as a whole the fitness industry could do better in the new normal, whatever the fuck the new normal is? If and when that returns. According to Bojo, it's June 21st. That exact date.
Not a day earlier or later.
Not a day earlier or later. Everything will be back to normal. on June
Man.
21st.
At
So
that
come
point,
June
even the
21st.
coronavirus will have its vaccine.
Yeah. So come June 21st, what do you think we could do better in the industry as a whole, and where do you see that leading to?
Okay, so everyone's kind of jumped on online and stuff already, so I think that that's kind of an obvious thing. I think the culture and the community aspect is it, like there's no two ways about it. Like it's like people have been missing out on it so much. Do you know what I mean? It's there's always talk about mental health and as well as physical health and stuff. So you've got a gym that's kind of dealing with the physical health aspect. So if they want to stand out and they want to go above and beyond and kind of do more for people, they've got to kind of address that mental issue, which is kind of people who go to the gym not to look like a bodybuilder and want to go just to kind of get an hour away from the kids, or go for drinks with the guys afterwards and stuff, and just have the social aspect and stuff of it.
See, as you're saying that, okay, I think it was, who was it that said this? I can't remember who it was that said this, but it was transformation doesn't happen in isolation.
Oh yeah, transformation is not a spectator sport kind of thing.
Yeah, transformation doesn't happen in isolation. So you think about like people who, and again, I'm not disrespecting commercial gyms. I definitely think there's a place for them. I hope there's a place for them when after June 21st. But for the most part, I think where most people belong is within a culture. If they truly do, if they want to make a true consistent change, they belong there. And then I would say for the most part, going to the gym in isolation is for that advanced individual.
Well, yeah, I was actually going to make that point. You think about some of the people who, go to a commercial gym and stuff and don't quit after a couple of months. It's either, one or two sorts of people, maybe more, but it's either the insanely dedicated guys with the headphones on or girls with the headphones on, and they're just getting stuck in. They've been doing it for years and they've got something in their mind that they're going for. Yep. Or people who are going to commercial gyms with their friends, in which case they're bringing the culture and the community to that place instead of the place providing it. So if you think about the average Joe who's maybe, thinking about losing a few pounds and getting a bit fitter and healthier and stuff and wants to go to one of these places on his own, chances are he's not going to be the super dedicated guy, and maybe his friends and stuff aren't feeling the same way about how they look or their health or anything like that, in which case there needs to be something that person can then become a part of, which is the going to the gym and making new friends at the gym because of coaching as a group, or semi-private personal training or something along those lines. I think the community and the culture aspect is a no-brainer going forward.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. Thank you for your time today, brother. It's always a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yes, no sweat, my man. I shall see you later on this afternoon, dude.
Yes, bud. Have a good day.
Take care, mate. Thank you.
Take it easy. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.